Hey, what's good, what's good, what's good? Welcome to Reflections of a DJ, the R.O.A.D podcast presented by DJ City and Beat Source. I'm one of your hosts, DJ Crooked. We got DJ Never here.
Yo, what up?
We got Jamie the Great here. DJ D Miles is MIA. He's getting his ass fixed once again.
Per usual.
We got a special guest, though. I mean, this is a fellow New Yorker, right?
Yeah.
So never, I feel like we were in the circles with this DJ, but we never really
met.
We never interacted somehow. I don't know what it is. We all have a similar story. Like, you know, we grew up in Vegas. I mean,
grew up in New York.
Yeah. We have a similar story. We grew up in New York and we're all ended up in Vegas somehow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I know him as Pork Chop. You know what I'm saying? I know him as DJ Pork Chop. But we have, you know, the great Pete Shalvoy here. What's good, Pete?
What up, Pete?
Thank you. Thanks
for coming through, man.
Yeah.
I've been speaking with you. We've been having lunches and talking about DJing and life and music and all of this shit.
Yeah.
But we have a weird connection because I know you from Kane in New York.
Right.
In the early 2000s when I was DJing at Kane.
You did Bunny Chow, right? Tuesdays?
I did Tuesdays, and then you did like Fridays or Wednesdays?
Both. I did Wednesdays and Fridays.
Wednesdays and Fridays.
Yeah.
So he was the dude when I come in Tuesday, they'd be like, yo, man, Pork Chop is so good, man. He fucking killed it this weekend. You know, and I'd be like, oh, man, I got to kill it too on Tuesday. But I was known as like the hip hop dude. So like they had like a hip hop Tuesday that was kind of mixed with, you know, 80s and house and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And Kane, this is probably like 2003, 2004.
That sounds right.
2005 and whatnot.
I had been left New York when Kane opened. So I would say 3 or 4, 2003 or 2004.
2003 or 2004.
Yeah.
Because the management or the owners of Kane came from PM.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was working at PM with them. And that was like a Unique and Kiki nightclub. And I believe it was Jamie from South Africa.
Yes. Yeah.
And
it was Jamie from South Africa and Jema from Brazil.
Right.
And I think she was at PM too. I think she
were
was
they?
a waitress there. I think that's where they met.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
Either that or another, but that's either, if it wasn't PM, it was wherever they worked before PM, and that's how they got together. He was a bartender and she was a waitress.
And then, like, you have a crazy history, like in New York. I mean, obviously, you're born and raised in New York.
Right.
And you got a lot of roots in nightlife, man.
Oh, yeah. I've been doing it since 87, 88.
I feel like you're like the unsung DJ.
Well, he has this ill history in, like, you know, I'm talking with Neva about, we did some research on you.
Okay.
You actually had a membership to Paradise Garage?
Yeah.
So first of all, I didn't know Paradise Garage needed a membership.
It was membership only.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
It was membership only. I think I got my membership like the last year and a half.
Right.
Okay. And
do you still have your card?
I do.
Oh shit!
But I don't. But I have a picture of it on my phone, but I don't have the. I don't have the card with me. But hold on.
Can you send? Can you send?
That's gonna be the cover.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
That'll be the cover.
Right. So and it was funny because there was 2 nights. So it was the Friday and Saturday, right? And the 2 nights were different. So the Friday night was more the straight night, okay, and Saturday night was the gay night.
Oh, how was the music different?
It was the crowd was definitely different.
Right.
Okay.
Well, let's explain Paradise Garage a little bit. Like, if you had to explain that era of Paradise Garage.
So, oh gosh, all right. Well, first of all, it's a membership club. Okay, so you could only get in if you were a member or with a member.
Right.
Okay.
Or if he was a celebrity.
Yeah. But I mean, but you know what, too, though, back then, like, nightclubs weren't celebrity driven like they are now. Or like
it wasn't.
They were in the 2000s.
Nah, definitely not.
It wasn't about money, right? It wasn't about how much money you made or anything, right? It was
all those guys, and most of those guys with money or whatever didn't get in.
They couldn't get in.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like those guys that now are like, oh, come on in, you're getting 3 bottles or whatever. Those are the guys like, you're not getting in, sorry.
Wait, who set the tone for like the Door in New York City?
I would say Studio 54.
Studio 54,
say which door?
right?
Yeah.
Because was it what's his name? Mark Rubel?
Steve Rubel.
Steve Rubel.
Yeah.
Steve Rubel was just known to be at the door, and he would pick anyone who was just beautiful or unique looking, right?
Yeah, and they would see back in the day too. It was like the doorman made the crowd, right? So he would be like, "Oh, okay, I got too many dudes. Let me do." You know what I mean? Like they knew what they were doing. Or I got to get a dude in a dress and a dude in a 3-piece suit. I'm going to bring them in. You know what I mean? Like they curated the whole vibe through the club. Whereas
Right.
now they just go, are you buying a bottle or are you on the list? Like
Right.
they don't really do anything.
So literally, like the bottle service era of the 2000s kind of destroyed nightlife a little bit
Oh, for sure.
from what it was in the 80s and 90s, 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Totally changed the whole vibe. You know, like when I was coming up, you know, I used to work at the World. That was my first job.
The World.
Yeah. And
Was that in Times Square?
no, that was on 2nd Street and Avenue C.
Wasn't there a World in Times Square? Or was that later?
That was later. It's not the same world.
It's not the same World.
No.
This World was like, this was a mafia money laundering place.
Oh,
period.
shit. Okay.
It was like across the street from the projects.
Well, what's
Hey,
the
I
world?
lived right across the street from the World.
Where was it located? Where was it?
It was on 2nd between B and C.
Oh, okay.
And it used to be like a tabernacle. I can't say that word. Anyway, and it was like during the Civil War, there was tunnels all underneath it and shit. And they used to have, it used to be like a social like hall. So anyway, so that was my first job, and it was like, you know, you do that because you didn't want a job.
And you were a bartender.
I was a bartender, and then I started DJing a little bit because my crew I started DJing with these guys out of London called Black Market, and so one of them started DJing Saturday nights there, and we started doing before the World, a little prior to the World, we started doing our own club, and I hooked up with these London dudes, and so I became in their crew, right, and we would do it on 20th Street, right down the street from Limelight,
Wow.
and it was just an empty space, but it was a club space. And we would come in and bring speakers,
Sound system,
everything in there. And we'd do a club Friday and Saturday nights.
And what were
there.
you promoting it?
We promoted, we go out with little flyers and just hand them out during the week. And it was banging. And it was all about music, especially like these guys knew house. And it was just house was just
How did
starting.
you link? How did you get all in this? How did you link up with motherfuckers from London? Or what part of New York were you born and raised in?
I mean, I was born in Long Island. And so I live mostly Lower East Side.
Okay.
And I met through these London guys through a girl I started dating. She was British. And I met all her friends, and I was like, oh, this is cool, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how it started. And
Were you always in nightlife?
I was always in music. I had a band since I was 10 years old, all the way up through college. So I was doing that. And then I was like, you know, because I don't know if you've ever been in a band, but it's always like when you suck and you're like, yeah, we're brothers, we're doing this. And then you get some gigs, you're like, how come I can't sing a song? You know what I mean? It's just like the natural progression of a band is like you suck and you're all great. And then you start getting good and then you fight and then you break up. So I was like, I started learning about DJing and I was like, I can do this all by myself. Like, perfect.
Right.
You know, and I've always collected records since I was little. I have two older brothers who were always turning me on music. They're quite a bit older.
So who was the DJ that influenced you to be like, I can be a DJ? And what year was this? I want to know the year.
It was probably 87 when I bought my turntables, I think. What happened was, so I'm bartending at the World.
Right.
And I'm friends with this girl.
And then you were bartending at the World, and this is like what, 85?
86, 87.
87, 86, 87.
Okay. Her boyfriend was the manager of Nell's.
Right.
Okay. He left Nell's.
Nell's is a popping club on 14th, right?
14th Street,
14th Street.
Between 8th and 9th.
I don't know if I've ever been there, but I've heard the downstairs was amazing.
That's right.
You've been to Nell's before. But you went to the Reincarnation with
Yeah.
Up and Down or whatever.
Up and Down.
Oh,
Up
yeah.
and down. I
Yeah.
think it was something before that too. I forgot.
Oh,
what
man.
it was.
Nell's was
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
unfucking believable, man. I mean, that was my favorite club.
I've heard stories about the downstairs or something. Right?
Downstairs was great. I mean, Prince would
I
come in.
went to Nell's like towards the later, before they closed up, like the later years, like in the late 90s, no, mid 90s.
Okay.
They closed it like in 94, 95.
I thought maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I always hear Prince would walk around or some
He'd
shit.
come there after his shows and start DJing, playing all this like funk and stuff. I mean,
Oh, he was DJing?
yeah, he would DJ. On my nights, I would have like Russell Simmons would be there every week. He'd be like, "Yo, do you have that new, MC search or whatever?" And I'd be like, "No, I don't have." He's like, "Call me tomorrow." And, I mean, he was there. Grand Poobah every week. Al B. Shore would hang out in the DJ booth with me like all night. Like this is, Fat Five Freddy.
And this is when you're pork chop.
No, I wasn't even pork chop yet.
You weren't pork chop yet?
I
What was
didn't
your
become
DJ
pork
name?
chop. Just Peter Shalvoy.
Really?
Yeah. So that was a whole nother crazy thing of like Nell's was just bananas. It was just such a great.
Yeah, and that was another club.
place.
If you didn't know the door person, you couldn't get into that venue.
I mean, yeah.
Right.
That was all over New York.
And if you think about it, when I was there, which was probably maybe 89 to 92,
Yeah.
I think that was my run there. But I mean, our DJs were me, obviously. Dimitri from Delight.
I remember hearing that
Toa
name.
Toa from Delight. Pal Joey of Hot Music and Dance Earth People. This guy Basil. DJ Jules. Belinda. And this guy Jerome Sedenheim, I think was his last. He went on to do Abadan Records as a big house guy. I mean, talk about like a fucking lineup of DJs. It was amazing.
I heard of Dimitri. I don't know the other names.
Toa T was the other DJ.
Was the other guy from Delight.
The guy from Delight.
Oh, okay.
The Asian dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so when I heard of Nell's back in the day, it was known as like a hood spot.
That was like the later years. No, that was like the later years before they closed out. That's when like Bad Boy used to go there.
Yeah.
It used to like cause trouble in the venue.
Yeah. I remember like Nell's, like everyone was like, yo, Nell's is popping, but it's hood.
Yeah.
Like you got to watch your back and shit when you go to Nell's.
It wasn't that bad, but it was definitely hood.
Nah, man, I wasn't there then.
You think Prince is gonna be going to a fucking hood club, man?
I mean, I know it evolved into like probably becoming more hip hop and hood and whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember hearing stories of.
And it had like an upstairs where you could like get dinner and stuff like that. You know, and they had like, I remember one of the last shows I sat there, I was like leaning against the bar, having Heineken, and like right over there is like Roy Ayers performing.
That's crazy.
It was nuts, man. Yeah.
So wait. So what year was that Nell's? It was
like I said, it was probably, I would
87?
say 88 to 92.
Wow.
And Jessica Rosenberg was doing the door.
I don't even know. No, I think she did it maybe later because I know it was Mercedes and who else was doing the door?
This is like real New York history.
It was Jessica. Yeah. But it was great. You know what else was great about it too? I was thinking about this. When you walked into Nell's, right? You maybe within the first 15 minutes, you'd be in the DJ booth, the manager would come up to you and he'd hand you like a little manila envelope. You go, here you go. And it was your money rolled up and your drink tickets.
Oh, really?
You know?
Every time?
Every time you walked in.
Wow.
Here you go. Within the first half hour of being there.
Wait, so how much were you getting paid for that?
Dude, I was thinking about that. I paid $300.
Really?
Yep.
That's good money back then, bro.
It's good money now. It's not much different than now, if you can believe that.
Wait. You were paying $300 for the whole night?
Yeah.
For what was the hours? 10
to
whenever. 4.
10 to 4. Yeah.
$300 in like the late 80s.
Yeah.
And now that's the same rate now for DJs.
Right? Yeah.
Isn't that insane?
It's crazy.
And then back then it was cash. Now you're getting checks.
It was cash.
You have to
exactly.
You gotta wait.
Yeah.
Now you gotta claim it.
So $300 back then is probably what, 800 or 1,000 now?
What
I would say that maybe
gas was what, like fucking
I would
60
double it up.
cents?
I would be like maybe 700, 800.
Nah, it's like a cool.
I think it's more than that, man.
I think it's like 1,500. Maybe.
Nah.
Yeah,
Has to be up there.
a fucking
Bro, think
McDonald's
about it.
hamburger was 25 cents or
Yeah,
something.
and
It was not 25 cents back in 80s.
When I was a kid.
A gallon of gas back then had to be 60 to 75 cents, if that.
But records, imports were still $10,
Exactly. Yeah.
right?
I mean, but when I started buying them in the late 90s and early 2000s, they were like 30 and 40.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Because a lot of the rock records I had to get from imports.
Yeah.
And they were like for Nirvana, like Smells Like Teen Spirit, to get that LP.
But that was the album. Like the 12 inches was like $10 still.
Nah.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Imports,
like
it was still like 25.
I'm thinking like house music imports, like back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Early, like the 2000s, it was like around 20, 18, 15, 25, if it was an import, for sure. Any imports that was like double the price of a regular single. But then a regular single was like, what, $6, right?
Exactly, yeah. That's what I'm saying. It was like 15 for import.
Maybe I'm thinking LPs, man.
LPs is definitely double.
Yeah.
That was $30.
More, yeah.
Maybe you're right.
Never did you meant to say Jessica Rosenblum?
Yes.
I'm not sure if she might have been there at the end. And then
Right.
I think Gilbert did the door.
I know during the Puffy era, it was Alex Achuna.
Oh, what? Oh, he did? Okay.
He was doing the door, him and Andre.
You mentioned Gilbert, right?
Yeah.
Rest in peace. I think he passed away.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was in Miami, and shout out to Raul. Raul was taking me around in Soho House, and they had all of these photographs, and I saw Gilbert.
Yeah.
up there, and he's like he's like, nightlife.
He's royalty, man.
Royalty, man.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like when you saw Gilbert, it's like you knew like it was
legit.
an official, it was like a legit spot, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That was the difference, I think, back then in New York. I mean, I think Vegas has always been different a little bit, right? But in New York, it's like the respected door people, they followed the good clubs. You know what I'm saying? So you went to the spot. If you knew one door, like 2 or 3 door dudes,
You was golden.
you was golden. Like you was chilling
yeah.
because they kind of all rotated to the hot spots. Yeah, shout out to Gilbert.
Yeah, man. He was great. I like
Yeah,
Gilbert.
man. He's royalty. Yeah, for sure, man. So wait, so you're bartending at Nell's and you're doing World.
No,
you're DJing at World.
Right.
Sorry, right.
Bartender.
So wait,
bro.
I'm bartending at the World.
you're bartending at World, but you're DJing at Nell's.
No, I'm bartending at the World. Send this guy. I'm working with this girl whose boyfriend was the manager of Nell's. He goes and opens this club called Alibi, where the old Mama Rose's was on St. John Lane. It's a little alleyway. You wouldn't even know it. This small club. It was banging. Okay, so I started bartending there. And then what I would do is I would ask him, he would give me the keys, and I would go in there during the day and spend all day inside this dark-ass club just DJing, trying to learn how to DJ, like buy a record,
okay.
whatever I could do. And I would learn that, and then I started DJing there. And I did Fridays, and this guy Shenge was Basquiat's roommate. He's in the Warhol Diaries and everything.
So
like
wait, with
Oh,
Basquiat's
shit.
in this whole.
Oh yeah,
wow.
yeah. I remember.
So you would see Basquiat.
Yeah,
You was hanging out with Basquiat.
Yeah.
And Keith Haring.
Yeah,
and all them
yeah.
guys.
Wait, really? You were hanging
the
out with?
fuck?
You were hanging out. You were hanging out with Keith Haring and Basquiat.
Yeah. I see those guys at the clubs and stuff all the time.
But like, you know them as a DJ or as a bartender?
I know them just
You know, there's a homie.
just
like
a downtown kid, like a downtown club kid that I was.
Oh, shit.
Dude, I went out.
How did
every
you meet
fucking-
them?
Yeah,
How
I went
did you
out
meet
every
them?
night.
Hold on, he just dropped that like it was nothing, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
How did you meet them? Who did you meet first?
Basquiat.
Basquiat.
Through Shenge. Yeah.
So then, where'd you meet? I want to know this story.
Oh, I don't even just.
He bummed a cigarette? Like, what happened?
I don't even remember, dude. It was just
don't?
like it was just gradual.
It's just like when you go out, you run into
You
these
just recognize
people,
people.
and then
Yeah.
y'all become cool and whatever. You
Exactly,
just hang
yeah.
out from there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
you just
Did you
like
hang
that.
out outside of the club with Basquiat?
No,
Keith Haring?
not really. No, I never like went over to their apartment or anything like that.
So he was just like a fixture, like the Funky Pirate, right, in New York.
Funky Fire. Yeah.
Like I don't know the Funky Pirate, but I would see him everywhere, right?
John Claude.
John
Claude.
The Funky Pirate. You gotta love the commitment to that, though, right?
Yo, he stuck with that for years
I'm wearing
too.
a pirate hat every night.
Yo,
for
so
like
it was
8
this.
years. Like I wonder, like, did he have like a supply in his closet? Like, fresh.
It was the
fresh pirate hat.
same outfit every day.
Yo, we gotta explain this. So it was like this. What was he like? 6'3", or he was?
He was like
really
he
tall.
was kind of tall. Yeah.
He was like
Yeah.
6'3" black dude, right?
Yeah.
And he would just wear a pirate hat, right?
Uh-huh.
A pirate hat. Did
with
you
a skull and I think with a skull and crossbone, like that one, you know,
Yeah.
So he'd wear a pirate hat, and he called himself the Funky Pirate.
Yeah.
But he would dress normal and shit, right? Or he.
Yeah, he wouldn't do any like Johnny Depp shit or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
Oh no, there was something the same in L.A. It was the Hollywood Jesus, but he had like the full like shit, like he was.
I think I
in
remember.
sandals.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, he passed away a few years ago. But yeah, the Hollywood Jesus, he'll pop up at Dre's or Playhouse, and he'd just be zooming through the crowd. But he was really committed to that fucking band.
Right. But it was like back then you had those characters like the Funky Pirate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, and there are people like you used to know. At least I still have friends today that like I know from the garage. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like there are people that you just know from clubs, and that's when clubs were different too, because back then clubs were about community, right?
Yeah.
It was all about you didn't want to go sit in the VIP. You're like, this is fucking boring,
yeah.
Right.
But now everyone wants, I want my table, or I want my,
I need my bottles. This
yeah.
and that.
The more VIP, if I had to sit in a closet, but they said VIP, and I would do that and just sit in a closet all day.
Can we talk about the community aspect a little bit, like what you're talking about? So you've got Basquiat there, you got Prince walking around, you have this whole thing. What was it, like a safe place for creatives, pretty much?
Yeah, for sure.
Where creatives can just let loose and just express themselves, and the DJ was like the soundtrack for this night, and everyone was just kind of like experimenting with everything, whether it was like drugs, liquor, or experiences, or mingling and everything like that. It's very different from what it is now.
Yeah, and you gotta remember too, this is pre like cell phone, right?
Right.
Pre everyone has a camera. Mm-hmm. So like celebrities were doing drugs in the bathroom with everybody else, or not even in the bathroom.
They would do it out front.
That's
There
what I'm
was no
saying. You know what I mean?
documentation,
Like, yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So there's no like taking, a picture or whatever. So everyone was just and again, nightclubs were subculture. They weren't mainstream like they are now.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? You went to a club to do some ill shit, right? Not, there was nobody walking around in a suit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was like these nightclubs owner that was eccentric and they were doing whatever, and it was, it was probably all illegal.
Right.
But then at the same time, like everyone kind of took care of each other. You were there for the same thing,
Right.
and it wasn't like everyone's just facing the DJ. Like everyone was just dancing. You'd be like, okay, our coach's over here by this speaker. This is our area. We'll come back to that every, you know what I mean? If you get too fucked up, like go back over there and we'll find you or whatever.
And it felt like a club, like you said, like a tight community, because not everyone could get in.
Yeah, exactly.
So like everyone kind of acted a certain way, right? Everyone was kind of like, I'm so happy to be here. Like this is an honor. Like everyone's kind of like,
Yeah, for sure. And also too, it wasn't like, oh, well, I'm hot shit because I have my hedge fund or whatever, whatever it is. Everyone was we were all kind of
Equal.
outsiders too. You know what I mean? So you're like, okay, like we found like, oh, you too? Oh, all right, cool. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
That's why I used to love that when I would walk around New York City back in the day and I'd see like some kid, you could tell he was like fresh off the bus or whatever, and you could tell he's like a total freak and he's just like probably persecuted his entire life, in some small town.
Where he grew up, right?
Yeah, and I'd always like walk by and say to myself like, welcome, man, like,
Right.
you're home.
You're
like,
home.
Yeah,
Right, that's
like,
crazy,
Let
yo.
your freak flag fly, like you're right on.
It's funny. I've heard like stories of Nile Rodgers like meeting one of the members from Duran Duran, just like in the corner of some club. I forget what club it was, but he was just like sipping orange juice, and he's like, "That's how we connected," and that's how they began to do music together.
Wow. Yeah, I don't doubt it.
It's funny. So you're in these rooms with Basquiat and
Keith Haring.
which you like. I need to hear something. I need to
You
hear
gotta
an
give me a good story.
interaction
I don't really-
with you or Keith, or like you guys did blow.
Basquiat,
You guys did blow
No,
together
no,
or anything.
nothing like that. I have very few stories because I met them through other people and I never really hung one-on-one or anything like
Yeah.
that. I was always in groups or whatever. Two stories I have is one, I remember when Keith was getting very sick. Okay, and he wasn't be able to go out much. And so, again, this club Black Market I was doing, we did a night. And another story. There's other club called Baseline. We were the two underground clubs. We lost our venue. They kept going, and they became Sound Factory.
Oh wow.
So if we would have found a venue, who knows? Anyway, so it's one of Keith's last night out. I see him on the dance floor. So I played Dr. Love the entire 8-minute 50 seconds because it was like his favorite song. So I remember seeing him all happy dancing and stuff like that. So
And that was your way of just giving him, that moment.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And then
Wow, that's amazing.
and then
And was that the last time you saw him? Maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I remember the night, it was a Saturday night because I DJ'd Friday and we had this back kitchen at this place called Alibi, Madame Rose's. And my records were in there. So I was going to pick them up for whatever reason. And I go there and all of a sudden Shenge walks in. He's all upset. I'm like, dude, what's going on? He's like, he's dead, man. He's dead. I'm like, what are you talking? What the fuck are you talking about? He's like, he's dead. I'm like, who's dead? He's like, Jean-Michel. I'm like, what? What the? Because he had gone to Hawaii to try to get clean. And he OD'd there. So I had to DJ that night. He's like, I can't play. You have to play for me. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Damn, that's crazy. So wait, did you see Basquiat with Madonna together?
No.
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 Were they dating around that time or no?
I think they was dating like in early, before she blew up.
Okay.
Or just about when she was about to blow up. Like in 82, 83.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
It's so nuts.
Yeah.
So wait, okay.
And he used to go to Odeon. We used to see him at Odeon a lot.
I remember Odeon.
Yeah.
Wow. So wait. Let's go back. So
Jesus Christ.
and there's so much history over here.
I know.
So then let's like, how does this lead to you getting a membership at Paradise Garage?
Okay. So we had heard about Garage. We loved the Garage. So I wanted to get a core membership. Okay. That's the Saturday night. You go Friday or Saturday.
Now explain what Paradise Garage was in New York City at that time.
Okay. It's in an old mail building, an old garage, and had this ramp. And the ramp was the shit because you'd be walking up the ramp and there'd be a window where you have to pay, but you could already feel it going like, doof, 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 and the bass would like be pushing your like pants against your legs. And you're just like, oh shit, here we, you just get all excited. You went in, you paid. And then there was a crystal room, which is all those like little glass bricks, you know?
Yeah.
There'd be people hanging out there. Then there was the main dance floor, right? With the stage over here, and then up here is the DJ booth. You go through there, and there's like a refreshment room where they'd have like bowls of water, punch, cookies, pretzels, and all these little places, like big cubes you could just lounge out and basically hang out until your drugs kick in, basically.
It's like the drug.
If I'm being honest.
It's like the drug waiting room.
The warm up.
So, and then through that was a movie theater.
Oh shit.
And then if you went up around the stairs, you'd go to the roof.
There was a movie theater?
Yeah, it's a movie theater.
Dude, that's like the original Soho House or some shit.
But I mean, dude, you'd stay there till like 2 p.m.
What?
We wouldn't leave and we wouldn't go until 4 o'clock in the morning.
After work or whatever?
Either after work, or if you didn't work, you'd take a disco nap till like 2 a.m. Then you'd get up, shower, put your club clothes on. Then you'd go to like somewhere, meet for a drink, take your dose, and then head over to the garage.
So then you go there to Paradise Garage, right? And then you'd pay to get in?
Yeah. So like I said,
And then what's the difference between paying or being on a list, or like, was there even a list?
There's no list. So
So
like I said, Corey, you go Friday, Saturday, and that's when you had to have someone vouch for you. So I had some friend vouch for me that you're gay or whatever. And then the Friday night, they could only go Friday. And then you were allowed to.
So wait, straight people weren't allowed on Saturdays.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of dope, though.
It was great. Yeah. That's music. And then
I've never heard of that. Did you know that?
I didn't know that about the Saturdays. Friday Saturdays.
It was a core membership.
Your membership was only for Saturdays then?
No, for both. Corey, you could go Friday.
Core.
Saturdays you go on Fridays. Fridays couldn't go on
So
Saturdays.
Saturdays you had to pretend to be gay?
Saturday. Well, yeah, no one cared. No one
Right.
tested you.
Like, yeah.
You were like,
I was gonna say, was there a test you in the past?
like a wall of dicks or something. Like that.
Choose your favorite.
Let's see. He doesn't look that excited.
That's
But
crazy.
yeah. So and then I think you were allowed like maybe 3 guests or something like that. So you'd pay like $10 and they'd have to pay like 25 or something.
That's a lot back then,
Back
huh?
then,
Back then is a lot.
you know, and sometimes too, you'd have people waiting outside, like, yo, can you get me in? You know,
Yeah.
I'll give you whatever to get in.
Oh.
You know, because they couldn't get in.
All right. So how did you get the membership?
Through,
And how long did it take?
you went during the day. I went up to the office, like you waited in line, and you went up to the office.
So there's all these people waiting for
oh yeah,
membership.
like hundreds of people, or at least 100.
Well, not too many people knew about the garage. So
Right.
it was.
But they only
when
did-
it first started, before it like really blew up.
Right, but there's I mean, it's probably much more famous and popular now than it
Exactly,
was then.
yeah.
Oh, really?
You know,
Yeah.
But what I mean is that there was only one day or 2 days, so whoever wanted to do it, you had to go on those days. So you'd wait in line, you go to the office, and you.
So
see the
membership
guy.
day was like a Tuesday or Wednesday or something?
Yeah, whatever. No, like a year. It wasn't like every
Oh,
Tuesday
so it wasn't
or
every
Wednesday.
week.
No,
It was like,
no, it's like once a year.
like a renewal day.
Yeah.
basically, yeah.
So you had like 2. It's like voting.
it's like
you waited
voting.
in that. Like,
Oh, wait.
So it was.
wait. Go ahead.
You get what he's saying, right? It's just 2 days out of the whole fucking year. So if you didn't get in the first, say, the 2020 year, you had to wait a whole ass year.
Right.
Wow.
So there was only 2 days when they allowed membership.
I can't. Maybe there's 3, 4. I don't know, but it wasn't a lot. It wasn't every.
It wasn't
week.
like that.
Let's say there was a couple days. There was a 1 week where you had to get your
Right,
membership,
right.
And if you didn't get it that week, you were fucked all till
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought
Unless I'm sure if you knew somebody who worked there, I'm sure they could probably get you a thing. But for the everyday,
I'm wondering if that formula could ever work now. No,
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
it would have to depend on
Exclusivity
what
right
would you
now
what
is
would you
crazy.
offer. You know what I mean? And how much would people want to join?
right.
I mean, I don't know. It was good.
It's so
It's
insane.
insane. It's an experience like no other. I have to, and I know I'm probably like talking all this shit or whatever, but like, oh, it was the best club back in my day, but it's different than anything I've experienced since.
Yeah.
Okay. It's definitely why I wanted to become a DJ. Okay. I still have friends to this day that I met at the garage. Okay. And the relationship, first of all, the community was incredible. Okay. And the relationship between us and Larry was not like nothing I've ever seen before.
Larry Levan.
Okay.
Okay, I'll explain.
Yeah.
So
Kingpin DJ.
Yes.
For the garage.
Just amazing.
I mean, just
In
dance
general?
music.
General, man.
I mean, him and
Dance
Frankie
music.
pretty much started the whole thing.
Frankie Knuckles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, let's say for example, like the word would be like, oh, Larry doesn't like the crowd. Larry doesn't like the, and it's like 2 a.m. and we're like, he's playing all this shit music. He's like, yeah, he doesn't like the crowd. He's waiting for people to leave.
Really?
He's trying to flip the room.
Yeah. So he'd do that. So he'd wait till like maybe 4 o'clock in the morning, and then he'd start playing some good music.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
So
And-
was you there when he wasn't feeling the crowd?
Yeah.
And what type of music was he playing? Was it that bad that you wanted to leave?
It was just boring. It was just like some club music, some stuff, but it wasn't anything like exciting. None of the records we wanted to hear. You know, just all those throwaways. You know, and so what we would do, this is what I'm saying, the give and take is incredible, like nothing like it today, is we would sit down on the dance floor.
Just to wait for the.
That would be our
music.
thing, like, oh, you're going to do that? All right, we're going to sit on the dance floor until you play some good shit.
Oh,
And we'd all just start sitting down.
like a
on the dance
protest.
floor.
Wouldn't he get pissed?
No, because he knew he's Larry Levan. He probably didn't give a shit. Because
He
he knew
gives
he was
two
probably
fucks.
going till like 2 p.m. So for him, he was probably, you know what I mean? That would be like something happening to us at like 11:30.
So Larry Levan would DJ for like 10 hours?
Yeah.
Holy
Or sometimes he'd have Junior open for him, or
Junior Vasquez.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
or
I like how you just say these names.
I know, like, it's like,
Yeah.
I need full names from
Okay.
now
No.
on, you know?
But yeah, I mean, but that was like incredible. Like like that relationship, you know what I mean, between the crowd and the DJ is just phenomenal.
Okay, so then what's the longest you guys sat on the dance floor?
It was like an hour or two.
An hour or two?
Yeah.
sitting like crisscross applesauce on the floor.
Because you guys
Yeah.
you didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
You
No,
wouldn't
because you knew
leave.
he was going to play some good shit. And sometimes
so what-
those are some of the better nights.
So what song was it that made y'all get up and
Like, you had to wait till like 3 good ones, and you're like, you got it.
Yeah, it would depend on what that week was, but any like Liz Torres, you know, any of that stuff, or 10 City, or Jungle Woo's Time Marches On, or Do It Properly, that kind of stuff. I remember one night, I knew Michael Jackson Bad had come out that week, and I was like, oh, Larry's a big Michael Jackson fan. I was like, but I'm not feeling this fucking album. I don't like it at all.
Your bud is mine.
I know he's gonna do it. Okay, and Larry was a genius at knowing when to play the right record, and he just worked the fucking room all night, and all of a sudden he throws on Bad, and I'm just like, yes!
Wow.
You know what I mean? He just, but it was different. Like, or for example, I remember I was there the night that was it Peter Tosh got murdered? Remember, like he was a burglary.
Oh my God.
And he got, you know, fucking Larry, 3 o'clock in the morning, reggae for the rest of the night.
Wow.
And he's playing records.
Damn.
And he had those with him.
Yeah.
You probably kept them.
But
Yeah.
he kept his records in
Oh, he kept
at the
his
club.
Yeah, at the club. But still, I'm saying to just be like, let me get my reggae out.
For him to do that, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and to do it at the, you know, right in real time almost. Like, then, you know what I mean? Everyone's like buzzing around, like, oh, Peter Tosh, what's that? And all of a sudden, like, comes
That's
on.
so crazy.
Yeah. So it's just a totally different environment.
What determined him not liking the crowd? Like, people not dancing,
They
reacting.
weren't
to the
dancing, or he
record?
thought they were too straight, or maybe he played something they didn't react the way he wanted, or he just thought like, it's not really popping tonight, you know?
Jesus.
Yeah.
But he knew that later on,
Yeah.
it pick up, or like the right crowd would come in, right?
Right, or whoever stayed. So that was the other thing. You knew, like, if you stayed, you'd be rewarded. You know what I mean? Like, if you just wait it out, he's going to drop some real
Sit down
good
for
shit.
long enough.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, there's been conversations in our previous episodes about Larry Levan and like how he wasn't a technically amazing DJ.
He was not. He was not a great mixer.
Yeah. So like me like Neville would tell me like, yo, he wasn't good, and like, you know, there's other DJs like, yeah, we you know, we've heard live mixes and he's not good, but then like Boogie Blind, shout to Boogie Blind, he'll like call me up like upset and cursing me out like, how the fuck you gonna say Larry Levan don't know how to mix? He know how to mix. He knows how to mix crooked. You saying this shit on the podcast, and I'm like, you were there. What? Tell me what was going on.
I mean, again, first of all, you got to remember, like, it was a rotary mixer.
Right.
You know, probably, I don't even know if 1200s were even going that, you know what I mean? Or they were probably new or whatever. I mean, he wasn't bad. You know what I mean? But he wasn't like this crazy.
He wasn't
mixer.
blending. He wasn't like scratching.
He was
or
a-
mixing
No,
he was
it.
not
He was just
scratching.
playing the songs.
He would,
just
he would,
select-
And it was kind of train wrecks once in a while.
Yeah, or just wasn't, that wasn't his strong point.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Right.
But he could program like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
No one was better at playing the right song at the right time than Larry, man. You know, and I think we talked about this, you know, in some of our lunch things where like that's a lost art of nobody programs anymore. It's all just like song.
It's hard to do that though when you have this 2 hour, kind of
gap
structure, right? Where like a headliner goes on for 2 hours and an opener and closer,
But is there such thing as an opener anymore?
I mean,
someone who knows how to like, I'm going to marinate the room. I'm going to get the crowd right up there for the headliner. No, they're going to be like, I'm going to play whatever hits I can and get my shine on. Fuck the headliner.
well, like if we had to put a percentage out, right? Like a percentage of how many of the openers are actually trying to like open the room and marinate the room and create like an early energy in the room, what would you give that percentage in your opinion? 30%?
I'm about to say it would definitely be low.
Like 30%. That low?
Yeah.
So 70% are going for self.
for sure.
And then
Probably
30% are maybe like trying to actually open and like create a vibe.
Right. And then also you have to take into account too that you have waitresses and managers who know nothing as to what you're doing. So if you were doing the right thing and marinating, they'd be like, "Oh, pick it up, come on," you know what I mean? Because they don't know any better. They're like,
And that's mostly the case that's going on.
Everything, because if it's not peak, they just freak out. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
I don't understand what's going on. It's not peak, and you're not playing shots or whatever,
Right.
So that's another component.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
So wait, how were you going to like Paradise Garage every weekend?
Pretty by the end, yeah.
How many years? Like
For the last year, it was pretty much. I only went for about a year and a half.
It was like
what?
But yeah, was it 87, 88?
Yeah, no, 86, 87 is when I started going.
The garage closed at 88 though, right?
Yeah, I remember that night. Oof, that was a rough one. How
did you hear about it?
Oh, we went, but I had to work, and then we almost didn't get in because we were so late. And me and my friends, and we saw Mel Chagrin, right? Is that the name? I think it was the owner. Anyway, he's like, no, you got to let these guys in. You got to get them in. They're family. So we got in, luckily. And then
and that was the last night?
It's the last night.
Wow.
We didn't know it, but Keith Haring had painted a mural over the entire club.
Oh, wow.
So everyone's just like, oh, shit. Like, it was great, And then everyone was just going hard as shit, myself included.
Double dose.
What time did you leave?
Oh, I think 2, 3. Wow. And we found out people were still there at 8 at night. We're like, should we go back?
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's fucking insane.
I remember two things I remember. First, I remember going into my pocket to grab I think some more mushrooms or something like that. And as I ran down, just like, I went down. And then my two friends, who I still are friends with today, they were a couple, and they brought me to the roof, and I was like, okay.
Wow.
And then the girl I was dating at the time, we had what are they called, like poppers?
Oh yeah, the smelling thing.
Yeah, but she had them in like her overalls. So she was getting like a constant thing. So I remember leaving out the back exit with her like fireman's carried over my shoulder. Damn. That's how we left the garage.
Wait, so you guys had poppers back then too?
Yeah, sometimes they put them in through the air vents too.
That's what I heard about Studio 54.
Wait, what?
Yeah, sometimes they put.
Are we talking about the same thing?
Yeah, like amyl nitrate, right?
Yeah, like the computer cleaner shit.
I don't know. It's like a popper. Like with isn't that the whipped
The stuff that you
container
sniff. Remember?
You sniff.
But it was in
You put it on a rag or something.
Yeah.
I did it in Austin.
But
Right?
it was in Austin, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like that 10-second, 20-second.
Everyone,
Yeah.
Everyone's saying it's like it's mostly in gay clubs that poppers because it opens up your asshole. It relaxes your asshole.
I never knew that. I never even heard of that.
Pete's
Yeah.
face was like, what?
So like when you sniff it, right? It gives you this head rush,
Right.
The poppers, right?
Right.
I think it is electric, like computer cleaner,
Yeah.
like keyboard cleaner,
It's
or
like
like
NOS. It's like, it's
Yeah.
too
It's something, yeah.
So
yeah.
like we were in this gay club during South by Southwest in Austin, right?
Yeah.
But they were having like these events there, but they were selling these poppers across on the counter. Like
Yeah.
Wow.
like you
there were
could get
shots.
it. Yeah, like they were just behind the bar.
Let me get 2 Heinekens and a
Yeah.
popper.
Wow.
So
That's
like
crazy.
So
D Miles tried to drink it.
No, what,
You remember that?
Is that why he's not here? He's still recovering?
what happened was, let me explain. What happened was the homie handed over to D Miles, and D Miles looked at it and he thought it was like a 5-hour energy shit. So he went to take it, and they stopped.
and our boy like slapped that out of his hand.
Yeah.
Like thankfully.
That would have been a lot more than 5-hour energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I took it, and it's like a good 5-6 second head rush.
Right.
But it's pretty fucked up because it feels like something squeezing your brain a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. That's how I felt.
Yeah, it was good. I don't care if we were talking about this. It was good to take when we were coming down off your other drugs.
Really?
Yeah.
That was good to take when you're coming down?
Yeah, because it would give you that little lift up again, you know?
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not talking about the same
No,
thing.
No, it is. It is.
I think it is.
It's in a little, sometimes you put like a rag on it or something.
Yeah.
And you sniff the rag.
Because I felt drowsy as fuck. I was like, whoa. I was like out of it. You must have been taking some crazy shit.
Oh, yeah.
We did
was a lot.
Oh, never mind. I was going to ask him a weird question. But yeah, let's go.
No, go ahead.
And I was like, would you just doing mushrooms for the most part in those?
No. We were,
Okay. This is what
we
I
were
don't
doing
wanna
like
ask.
ecstasy.
But there was no alcohol served at that
No.
Ravage, right?
Yeah.
So,
Wait,
Oh,
there was
no,
no alcohol?
Oh, no bar. As I said, the back refreshment room had big bowls of water, punch, cookies. All this is all
Wait,
free.
so the mushrooms for you was like a Cliff Bar, right? That was like,
Yeah.
I needed some carbs to burn, you know.
Oh,
But no,
shit.
we would do I mean, ecstasy was a huge staple. Sometimes mescaline or mescaline and ecstasy. And then do a little coke before
because
that
Larry
kicks
was
in.
doing a lot of coke back
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
That's why he was able to stay up until like 3 in the
Holy
afternoon
shit.
to DJ.
Yeah, it was a
not
big.
fucking around.
But it was weird though. It wasn't. I don't know, maybe it was. And I just didn't notice. I said, it wasn't that druggy a club, but maybe I was the druggy. I don't know.
Yeah, one of my homies that his mom went to Studio 54. I was having a conversation with her, and she said, "Yeah, they used to put mad drugs on those air vents at Studio
Yeah,
54."
yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe they used to put poppers in the fucking air vents.
He goes, "Yeah, and everybody would get going. Like everybody was on something inside the club."
That
That's-
poppers is known to open, it's to relax your. That's what it's known now for.
I never knew that.
Yeah,
Because as soon as I bring up poppers to someone, they're like, "What are you like relaxing your asshole?
yeah,
You getting ready for something to enter your
It's more
asshole?"
potent now than it was back then.
yeah,
I'm like,
Wow.
I'm like, oh, that's why it was at a gay club.
yeah,
It's just relaxing
yeah. We later found
before
out.
entry, right?
Somebody told us that shit.
Wait, so Paradise Garage, are you DJing at this point? The last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so
Well, you're not DJing at Paradise Garage.
Oh God, no.
Oh, okay.
no.
I thought it was-
that would be insane.
That would be. Yeah.
So then you went on tour with like the Tom Tom Club.
Yeah.
How did you? Was this around the same time or
No, this was later.
later.
This was about 91.
From when I saw
90
it, 91, 92. Well, the flyer I saw was from 92.
92, yeah.
So then from 88 and 89, 90, you were DJing in New York.
Yes.
Yeah, you were at all these.
I have a question. Was you at Palladium? Was you spinning at Palladium or
I bartended at Palladium.
bartending? Okay.
Oh, so you were bartending and DJing everywhere.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Damn.
Yeah.
And at the time, like the big clubs was Palladium, Nell's, Limelight,
Mars.
yeah.
I played Mars.
Okay, yeah.
Was a big one. Where else? I don't know if you remember Payday.
Of course, yeah.
With Moxie?
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, I did Payday. It was funny because when they did it was like a
Wait,
school.
when it was in the building or when?
No, before when it was
Before
like in
the
a
building.
school. It's like in a school gymnasium down in
Because they used to
Rivington and
move different locations. Because at one time they
Right.
did it at Evan Plaza.
Yeah. No, this was when it was at the school in Rivington, and there'd be a house DJ, which was me, and a hip hop DJ, which was Mike G from Jungle
The
Brothers.
JV, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wait a minute, was it the
yeah.
Was it at the Hotel Amazon?
No, I played, but no.
But did you play there, though?
Yeah.
Damn, man.
That was before this, though. That was
Okay,
before this,
all
but yeah. And I remember it's so funny because like it was like a school gym, right? Auditorium. So there's a stage. So you'd walk in and there'd be like all these chairs and all these dudes with the Jungle Brothers like crew, and I'd walk through and they'd be like, when they came in, they'd be like shaking everyone's hand. Then they get to me and kind of look at me. And Mike would be like, no, he's cool. They're like, okay. I'm like, how are you doing? Like, I was young, man. I just started DJing and stuff. But they were super nice. They were very cool.
So were you listening to everything though? You were
yeah, you did. You know, and it's funny. I remember we were talking about Hotel Amazon. I remember telling Shecky this too, of like back then, and especially like late 80s and stuff like that, when you were at like a club, especially those clubs again, because everything was underground, right? Mm-hmm. So you'd have like hip hop dudes.
Yeah.
You'd have like, I don't know, like punk dudes. Like, and I was more like,
you had club kids.
Yeah, you had models, you had this, but everyone mixed together.
Yeah.
Like when I started, I was more like a punk. Like I had the M1 jacket and the Doc Martens and all that shit. That's how I was coming in the late 80s. That's how I dressed, you know. And then it started becoming more in the 90s. Then it was more hip hop. You gotta remember too, like hip hop fashion wasn't hip hop fashion in the 80s. It was like spiked bracelets. You remember? Like,
that was like during the Bambaataa years.
You know what I'm saying? Though, but I'm saying it didn't become so established until like the 90s.
Going into the late 80s, late 80s going into
like
the 90s.
The LLs and stuff like that started breaking it. But
like when motherfuckers was wearing like the boots, like the big boots, and like
it was just
and like they were trying to look futuristic and shit, right?
Yeah.
It was more of a melting pot of just downtown underground shit. It didn't matter. That was the more commonality than whether you were listening to hip hop or whatever else.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
You know. But what else? Mars is big.
What was your favorite spot to DJ back then?
Oh, Nell's, without a question.
Wow.
Yeah, Nell's was
it's fucking nuts, man.
Yeah. I had some great nights there, and no one, and the other thing was, the crowd was fucking great. Like, you know what I mean? You could have a woman who was like a teller at Chase, and she knew like all the jams. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like they just knew it, and no one asked you for shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like
you never got requests.
You got like you'd always have a group of like Rastas. They'd be like, "Hey man, you got to play the reggae." You're like, "Yeah, I'm playing it." But that was it.
No one was requesting Bad Bunny.
Exactly. And then they go, "You play it soon." Like, "Yeah, I'm going to get to it." And then you play it, and they dance, and then they go chill out again. You know what I mean? Like no one. And the other thing was, back then, there was club music and there was radio music, and the two did not meet.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas now, everything you're playing in the club is on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't meet at all. Come on.
Nope.
I mean, you were hearing bad Michael Jackson in Paradise Garage. You know.
Yeah. But yeah.
Was it hitting the clubs like a lot of this music hitting the clubs first though before? It got to the radio?
Yeah, for sure.
So you guys,
for sure.
You guys are definitely from the era where they would hear the song first from you, and they'd be like, "What is that?" So
absolutely.
So you were like breaking records.
Absolutely, and that's why I'd have like someone like Russell Simmons at Nell's every week going like, "Do you play that? How'd that go over? What was that?" You know, you'd be asking. People would be asking you, "What's?" You know,
and then
how was the reaction?
Yeah.
So like, can you name a record that you were playing and you knew was going to be a hit and it just started bubbling, and then you heard it on the radio later?
Probably the biggest
right?
one. Yeah, the biggest one I remember it was the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, and I was playing at Nell's, and it was fucking just crazy going off. And pal Joey comes up to me, who's a friend of mine, also a DJ there, and he says, "Dude, I just came from the studio. I got this cassette. It's the new Madonna. It's crazy." I was like, he's like, "You guys hear it?" And I don't know if you remember. Oh, anyway, Nell's had a cassette deck behind it on the thing, so you could record your set.
So you played a cassette.
So I played it. I fucking listened to it. I go, I'm gonna play it. And I played it, and it was "Justify My Love," the one with Lenny Kravitz on it. And I was like, oh man. And I played it like 3 times that night.
It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And that's the first time you heard it?
Yeah, he just came from the studio. I mean,
oh my god.
Oh, so he kind of like swiped it, or
yeah, he made a copy of it in the studio and then brought it to me at the club like an hour later.
I'm trying to remember in the early 2000s when I was DJing, if I was playing records that people never heard and it just went off. I like that part of my head, like
probably
I forget it.
In the club.
Do you remember?
50 probably.
Do you remember any records that you would just test out? You would just play it? Like a lot of the songs by the 2000s, like we heard it on the radio kind of first, right?
You know what's so funny? When I had moved to Vegas already and I was going to New York, there was like a couple of songs I got that was being played in New York that wasn't played in Vegas.
Yeah, of course.
Like I remember playing.
That's what New York was the epicenter, right?
Yeah, I remember playing "Beware the Boys," Jay-Z and Pajama MC.
Right.
They was playing that in New York. Nobody was playing that in Vegas. I came to Vegas, played it for the first time at Light, and everybody went crazy.
Right.
Just because of the Indian music.
Right.
So that was like a perfect. That was like one of the first songs I was playing out here that nobody was playing.
Yeah,
I got a good reaction.
Like in the early 2000s, and I don't even know if you can understand this.
No, I know what you're saying, because sometimes the mixtape had it before it hit the radio, but that was my equivalence to that. But what I remember Never telling me that he had In the Club way before it came out and way before it was on rotation anywhere.
I'm trying to think. Remember that record with 50 Cent and Biggie in the 2000s?
Oh,
The realest nigga.
The Realist.
Yeah.
I remember playing that in the club and people not knowing what the fuck
I had that early. Yeah.
And everyone just going the fuck off. Like, yo, is this Biggie? And then it's like,
Yeah.
And they just went the fuck off.
Because that dude was ranting in the beginning.
Right. And then was like, yo, what is that? What is that?
Yeah.
And then that was when like you got a mixtape, like everything you played, I need it because they couldn't get the songs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when you would sell mixtapes. I would sell mixtapes for like $20.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because they couldn't get the fucking music.
Yeah, because that's how we got Clue mixtapes, Envy mixtapes, all the Desert Storm stuff from New York, but they would sell it for $20 in LA. But all that shit had like tags and stuff like that. So you was like,
dude, I don't even remember that. Like I don't even remember how that feeling was back then to
That was a great feeling.
to just be like, yo, this is gonna work in the club, and you know it's gonna work. Like like this is a dope song, it's gonna work, and you play it and it works, and people definitely don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah,
but they just vibe off of it.
Yeah.
Like I would never do that now.
Now you can't do it.
You can't do it.
They wouldn't anyway because they'd be like, I don't know this.
Right.
People
This is in my Spotify list.
Yeah.
You know what? It's funny, when I was interning at Kiss FM back in 1990, and I had just started going to clubs, so I was familiar with like a lot of the club songs, and we used to have meetings with the program director, and she used to be like, hey, what song is big in the clubs right now that you think could be played in the radio? And I remember saying, yo, Do You Like Groove Is in the Heart is a big song in the clubs. And they started playing it like a week later.
Really?
I feel like I deserve a gold plaque for
Yeah,
and then it was funny. And they used to play the version without Q-Tip. And I was like, you got to play the version with Q-Tip. But at the time, they wasn't playing rap music.
That's what I was gonna say too. Like even if they did, like they weren't playing club music on the radio.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I remember like BLS would have like the lunch hour with John Davidson.
Yeah.
He'd play like house music for an hour. There'd be like, you know, a show.
They do,
but
the
it
mix
wasn't
show.
like a station. It wasn't like hot now. Like we're
But Kiss FM, they did started playing like I said, this is like 90. They started playing the full songs, but on prime time. But they didn't have like the rap version. They played like the cleanest version you could think of.
Right.
Oh my God.
Nowadays, even if you play something that, like I remember I was in LA, and this was before it came out really to the West Coast, was Welcome to the Party by Pop Smoke. I tried it out, and the whole fucking room just stopped. And I was like, ugh, gotta get out of here. Like, but it just, people don't even like give it a chance now. It just,
The difference is like you went to a club, you didn't expect to hear songs you knew or songs from the radio. They were club songs.
It was completely a different relationship.
Yeah, I would go to this one club. I think it was called Tracks on 17th Street on Tuesday nights. Another like gay club. And what was the guy's name now? I'm blanking on it. But anyway, he would DJ, and I would go because I knew at least once or twice a night I'd have to run up to the DJ booth and be like, "What's that song?" And most of the time he was really nice and say, "Oh, blah 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 blah." You know.
Wait, when do you think is the year or around the era of when DJs started losing control of that? Was it the MP3 era?
I would say during the MP3 era. Yeah.
Like the iPod?
what era is that?
What do you mean that what DJs would stop breaking records?
Yeah.
Yeah, like when I feel like Napster.
No, I think you just were still breaking records before that. I mean, after that.
Not really, nah.
Because grinding was after that. There was still records after that I remember DJs breaking. I mean, Rihanna, Cypher Sounds broke her and stuff like that. Was way past Napster. Napster was early 2000s.
No, I'm not saying it's the beginning of when like DJs started to lose control of.
I think it was the
pushing records.
It was iTunes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't it also bottle service?
Was it like 06, 07, I want to say?
Because then you started conforming to the clients who were buying bottles.
Yeah, I remember I was
That's what it was.
I was DJing at Bungalow 8.
Right.
And Amy Sarko comes up. She's like, yo, this guy just bought these bottles. You know, who wants to hear Biggie? I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, great. You know,
She's like, now.
And I'm just doing that, and I'm playing, and I'm thinking like, okay, yeah, I'll get to like 3 or 4 songs.
Right.
You know, I'm there. And I play like another record, and I look over, and she's like, I'm like, what? She's like, Biggie? I'm like, oh, now? She goes, yeah. I go, oh, okay. Just like, put it on. Like, no one cared. You know what I mean? Like
Maybe that's
what it was, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a mixture of MP3s, I think, because then the power of music started becoming more accessible to people.
To get, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Right. They didn't have to go and get a physical copy. They could download it, and they were reliant on whatever songs were on iTunes anymore.
And that had to be like around 2002, 2003.
It wasn't that bad then. I think it was later.
I think it was later because even that we still had to listen to the radio and hear.
Because I would say 2003 because I remember going on Napster. They used to be able to get songs that I had a hard time getting.
Right.
Even on vinyl, like it wasn't officially out, but they would have it on Napster.
Because I was still wait on like at the radio, listening to the radio like late at night when they were about to premiere a new song. So I still did that to like.
No, because you're right. Because Napster was when there was like leaks. There was like album leaks. It was all.
I remember like Magic Stick from 50 was leaked on Napster.
That was leaked, yeah. But that was old.
And it's so funny because the version they only had half the song. But that song was so dope. I would play that fucking half the song and then go back to the beginning.
Wait, so you would burn that shit on CD and play the CD?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is like, you know, it's funny. We had this mixer war conversation. You know what I mean? Like, There was a bunch of like hip hop DJs saying that 4-channel mixers is EDM mixers, and they didn't realize like in the 2000s. We needed 2 channels for like turntables and 2 channels for like CDJs.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the Pioneer CDJs that you guys see. I'm talking about like these.
The one you just
remember the one with the little drawer that would slide out that den and shit?
Yeah. The door slide open.
that a jet used to like.
Yeah, man.
There's 2.
There was 2 compartments. There was 2 portions of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one where the doors came open, and then there was another that was like kind of like a VHS. It had like VHS controls on it.
Yeah.
And you can like speed through songs and you can kind of cue it. I remember watching Neva for the first time. It was at Light in New York. And you were juggling vinyl and CDs.
Yeah.
He was playing Nirvana, doing a rock set. He was just bouncing with CDs, and I was like, oh my God. Like I gotta step my shit up because he sounded flawless. Everything was on beat. It was with the CDs. And I was like, oh shit, I got to learn how to do shit in CDs. And back then we would carry a book of CDs.
Yeah.
You have to hit that start button right at the right time, right?
Yep,
That's
exactly.
what it was about.
Yeah.
And then you could always and there was like that plus and minus so you can mix it and slow it down, which was cool. But it was like everyone had a book of CDs.
Yeah.
Of all of these songs you didn't have on vinyl.
Yeah.
And then also it's like just in case something happened to like a turntable or whatever.
You have a mix CD.
You had all this. And just putting together like one disc of all of these rock songs and then another one with all these 80s and
80s disco, everything, man. Yeah.
Oh my God. The amount of shit we had to carry back then was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Insane.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. You guys walk for we can all run.
But, I think too, like those two kind of coincide, the bottle service and the Napster. Like they're right around the same time,
Yeah.
It was the
early 2000s.
It was the perfect marriage to destroy like the whole scene of everything.
DJ, yeah.
And also too, the scene would right around that time too is when the scene changed to like way more corporate clubs.
Yeah.
Maybe towards the late 2000s, right? No, you're right.
Marquee and
yeah, because everything changed. Everyone said after 9/11, right?
I was gonna say, what's a corporate club?
Because
well, it was just more like before. Like they were super underground. They were all illegal. They were all laundering money for the mob and stuff like that. Right. And like the guys who were like running them were like hippies or whatever, you know what I mean? But now it's like you have all these guys like you go to like, and they're all like in suits and they have
like Wall Street workers.
Yeah. And they have a company, whatever their, company is and all this shit. And everyone gets paid in a check and everyone has a W-9 and all that shit.
Right. That's true.
So when it became like real legal,
it became
doing paperwork.
A totally different animal,
Yeah.
It started becoming like structured and formulaic in the 2000s.
There's positions.
Yeah.
Because then they were like, oh, we can do this formula in Vegas and we could like spread this around and create chains. And
it was like, oh, well, now we're not relying on the underground people, the outcasts. Now we're going for the bankers. And they're going to put their club, remember the club shirt with the design on the cuff? You cuffed it up and you had your nice jeans and like you were like, yeah that's club ready.
Yeah, man.
We were talking about that before. Like in Vegas, you needed the Kenneth Cole shoes. You needed like the stiff pants, like not too baggy.
The button-up shirt.
Or like the jeans with like the whatever the thing on the thing was.
Oh my God. Let's before. So like, I want to go back a little bit. So you were going on tour with Tom.
Yeah, how did that happen?
Okay. So I moved to LA 91, something like that. Okay. And hooked up with a friend of mine who was part of that English crew. This guy, Dave Witchard, call him Big Dave. And so he was out there. So we started doing party together.
Did Genius of Love come out by this time?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Way come.
Yeah, Genius of Love came out like in
82,
82.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is like
Sorry.
90. So anyway, so then what happened was we were doing our parties and we did really well. That's when Marcus Wyatt and those guys were doing brass and stuff like that. Delicious Vinyl was really big back then. So anyway, he was friends with this guy Nick Egan, who's a video director. Okay, did tons of stuff. Look him up. I mean, he's incredible. Anyway, he was working with NXS doing videos. So he brought Michael Hutchinson to some of my gigs, and we hit it off and kind of became friends. So they came, and then Soup Dragons went on tour with NXS. So Michael Hutchinson brought Sean Dixon, and so we became good friends. We still are to this day. And Soup Dragons went on tour with Tom Tom Club, and he brought me on, and that's how I met Tom Tom Club and ended up touring with them.
How long did you do that? So did you ditch all your New York gigs?
Because I was in, what happened was, I was in LA. Okay, I was in LA, and then the riots happened. So I was like,
wow.
I'm out. I was like, I'll go back to New York. Like, this is crazy.
Wait, you're talking about the
92 riots.
92 riots, yeah.
The Rodney King one.
The Rodney King
ones, yeah.
Oh, shit.
I remember I was at like Olives. I think I was trying to get like a bartending job or something. And I just finished my interview and I'm watching the TV and they're like, live from Simi Valley, the verdict in the Rodney King case. And it's like, not guilty. I'm like, can I have my check? Like, I'm getting the fuck out of here right now. I'm going home, Yeah. And what happened was we were doing a lot of like underground clubs in downtown LA before downtown LA was nice. So we had like a really nice mixed crowd and stuff like that. We had some guys from Booyah Tribe doing security and blah, blah, blah.
Booyah Tribe.
Oh, you had the good ones.
So we knew that after the Rodney King thing, we couldn't do those parties anymore for a long time. So I said, oh, okay. I was getting ready to move back, met these guys. He's like, we're going on tour. I was like, great. Came home to New York for the summer. And then September, I think it was, September, I went on tour for like till the following Thanksgiving.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Was it like a world tour or was it like
just the States?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, man. You got so many roots
I know.
in the game. It's fucking nuts. Yeah. Did you enjoy it?
The touring?
Yeah.
Yes and no. Yeah, sometimes it was fun. Did
it get redundant? Or?
Yeah, sometimes we would just totally fuck around.
And you had you was on tour with Public Enemy.
We did
on the tour?
Yeah, we did Public Enemy.
Tour.
We did the opening night with Public Enemy, which was really cool.
And Black Sheep, right?
Yeah, Black Sheep. We were on tour with them for a while. Yeah. Public Enemy was really cool. I remember like Flavor Flav like busting in the room like Flavor Flav. We were like, oh shit, that was a great show. And I was on stage for their show because I was DJing like the whole concert. Really? Different people and stuff like that. So like,
what, Terminator X wasn't there?
Terminator X was here, but I was over like on this side.
Oh wow!
So I set up. So I saw them, and they had this little like walkway under the stage, and I guess they would point. And these security guys would get these girls, and they'd like bring these girls under the stage. I was like, oh shit.
Damn.
Oh my God.
And not Chuck D.
I don't know who they were for.
I can see Flav doing
I don't know who they're for, but I'm just saying.
You can't see Chuck D doing that?
I can't see Chuck doing it.
Fucking Flavor Flav have a whole show of just women.
What do you think Chuck D did after the show? You went back and studied or something?
He did, yeah. He looked at the news to see what was happening.
That was one of the best hip-hop shows I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
I saw them, when I worked at The World, we started doing a hip-hop night there. And the first act it was a Wednesday night we did them. And the first act we had was Public Enemy with the S1s on stage with the flags and shit.
Oh, shit.
And then we had Public Enemy the first week, Spoonie G
did they have
the second week.
Which album did they have out? The first or second?
The first.
The first one?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And then we had Spoonie
Was
G
the Bum Rush
week.
the Show album, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Damn,
Yeah.
That must have been crazy.
Oh, it was nuts. And I remember MC Search was just this kid. He was a dancer. And when the bands would stop, these kids would get on stage and he would do all these crazy dances. People were like, I see this like big guy.
Go white boy.
Yeah.
Go white boy.
It was crazy. And it was really, we had really great people until like, of course, the door person gets shot and they're like, okay.
Oh man,
no more hip hop night.
I got jumped in front of the world.
Oh, you told me.
Back in 89, they took my Nautica jacket.
Are you telling
but they ain't take it. They ripped it. I make sure they ripped it off of me, so nobody was gonna have that.
I heard they cut it, right?
They cut it, and I got slashed in the back.
Shit.
Oh, you
Did you have a scar?
I still have the scar. Yeah.
Damn, man. Who gets to see that?
Gonna need some poppers for that.
You're gonna let loose a little bit.
Oh my God. That's fucking nuts. Wait. So
yeah, so we were on, we were on tour with those,
Yeah.
it was fun and sometimes it was fucking tedious, and I also remember too, like thinking like, wow, like they don't get it, like all the like the stars or the main guys in the groups, like those are the guys that got to get up at like 6 a.m. and do a radio interview or go meet and greet. It's a fucking lot.
It seems grueling.
It's a lot more than you think.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So then you were thankful to come back and be done with that kind of shit, right?
Yeah.
Was you cool with the Tom Tom Club? Like,
oh yeah, I still
you still cool with them? Mm-hmm. Oh shit.
Yeah. And then I saw them one time. I was in the Hamptons and I was like, oh shit. Now their kid is their DJ.
Really?
Yeah. What's his name? Kid Ginseng.
Wait, so was there a time when you did the MTV Video Music Awards?
No.
You didn't do the MTV Music Awards?
No, but I got a crazy shout out.
Yeah. I thought you did the party, the MTV awards party or after party.
Well, tell them why.
No.
Like, Never always brings this up when we talk about you.
Yeah, you tell the story.
No, well, I mean, for me, the story was I had my friend, this guy Shu, used to manage Serena under the Chelsea. I used to throw a lot of parties and stuff like that. Anyway, he like called me up, I think, and he's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I'm like, "Dude, what?" He's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Turn on MTV, turn on MTV." So I turn it on, and there's Will Ferrell, like giving, like I guess he won like the funniest host award or whatever. He's like, and I want to give a shout out to my man DJ Porkchop, holding it down every Saturday at Marquee. I was like, what? I don't remember. And I said to the guy, and then this goes to the whole DJ Porkchop thing. But anyway, I was like, he never would have shouted me out if that wasn't my name.
So we get,
you know what I mean? Because it's like a funny, he wants to use it. He's
so
like,
was he there listening to you?
He would come into Marquee on
so
Saturday
you know
nights.
him a little bit? No,
I would be DJing,
but he knew of you.
Yeah. He would be there, be like, "Oh, Will
Will he
Ferrell's
come by
here."
and say what's up to you? Like, hey, what's up? Or
Not really. Maybe like walk by and be like, but he never like talked to me or anything.
So then he was, and then he won an
What year
award
was
and
this?
said, "Shout to DJ Porkchop at Marquee."
Yeah, he was like going through this whole thing. He went this whole like thing, like, "Yeah, I want to say what's up to my man Nelly."
Oh yeah,
It was just like he was just bullshitting.
Wait, so when did you become Porkchop?
Okay,
Because I know you as Porkchop.
yeah, late '90s. I was bartending and I was DJing and I started bartending again. And I had a lot of these friends in the restaurant business. And back in the day, I think now it's more 24/7, but Mondays used to be the days that a lot of restaurants were closed. They'd be open Sunday, but they closed Monday, right? So they'd be like, what should, they knew I was a nightclub person. Like, what should we do? There's nothing to do on Mondays. So I was like, yeah, okay. So I was like, I'm going to start doing a party on Mondays. So I did a party at this place called R.O.A.D from the guy Tom, I want to say it's Frisk or Sisk. He ended up opening Central Fly.
Oh wow.
Okay, so I did
Central Fly was like, if you don't know, in New York,
I was about to ask, what is it?
It was just one of the dopest clubs that I've ever seen.
It's in the old tramp space, which has crazy history.
It was just the coolest spot.
Yeah.
And downstairs, like Mark Ronson would DJ, and he played hip hop.
Yeah, I did the main floor. I did opening night and DJ for a while.
And there was this one block, and I could be wrong. There was one block, and on that block was Central Fly and like Cheetos.
Cheetos was across the street.
Justin's.
And Justin's.
Yeah.
The restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like Cheetahs, Justin's, and Central Fly.
Yeah.
And it was insane. And then there was like this
And then wasn't
billiards-
Limelight around the corner? Well, Limelight had closed already.
Limelight closed, but that was because this was like 22.
Yeah.
And Limelight was 20. So,
Yeah, that's what. But still, it was like
close enough. Yeah.
Now that I think about it, whenever we refer to like New York, like nightlife eras, it's always pertaining to like a certain neighborhood or a block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the whole Kane Marquee
It was the meatpacking district at one point, and you know it just moved. It kept moving around and all that shit. Yeah,
yeah.
So you was so wait. What were we talking about?
Okay. So I started doing the party Monday night for people in the restaurant business. So I started doing that, and then they're like, this is really good marketing. Like, we should tell our liquor rep about it. So I was like, okay. So we started doing some stuff. Then they opened Central Fly, and it got, no one cared, right? Because it turned, So then I was thinking about it. So I knew this guy who was doing stuff for Tanqueray. So I said, hey man, you got like an hour, you want to meet up for lunch or something? I got an idea I want to throw at you. He goes, yeah, okay. So I said, I want to do a party for restaurant servers or bartenders and stuff. And I called it Born to Serve, like Born to Ride, we made up a tattoo of it and all this shit. And so he's like, that's a great idea. I was just at something, and let me go talk to Grand Marnier. So we talked to Grand Marnier, and they're like, yeah. So they threw all this money at us, but I had to have a corporation, right? So I was like, okay, I had to name a corporation. So we were just fucking around trying to think of stuff. And back then too, it was like all about like, homegrown and all this stuff. And I was like trying to think of something like that. So I remember I had a joke with a friend, like about, you had to put a pork chop around your neck for the family dog to play with you or whatever. Yeah. So I thought pork chop. I was like, oh, I'll do Pork Chop Productions. Like, oh, that's great. Yeah. So I did that for these parties, which lasted about 2 years. We did them in New York, Miami, Atlanta, really successful. So then I kept the company because I was like, I can write all this shit off and this and that. Mm-hmm. So now I'm working at Marquee, and Patrick Robertson, the manager, is like, when I check like Pork Chop, he starts calling me Pork Chop. Through that, I never like called myself Pork Chop. That was never my thing.
So you were proclaimed Pork Chop.
Yeah, someone gave it.
And then it just kind of caught on. So then I was like, well, fuck it. Let me just go with it because it seems to be, it's one of those names. Like my company is called Pork Chop Productions. Like you go to the bank and they're like, oh, what's that? Like the teller would be like, oh, that's such a cute name. What is it? And so people remembered it as well as Will Ferrell did. Like I said,
right.
My name was Peter. He probably never would have mentioned me at all. You know what I mean? So and Patrick did it. And the funny thing was, when I started going to Kane and stuff like that, I started, they wanted me to do these like big fashion things, Vanity Fair or Gucci or whatever it was. But they're like, but they don't want to hire a DJ Pork Chop because it's not good for their brand.
Right.
So I remember I'm talking to this like lawyer brander guy a couple times on the phone. He's like, yeah, man, I don't think you could use Pork Chop because, it sounds like you should have overalls on at a country fair or whatever. I go, yeah, okay. So then we talk, a couple of days pass, and I go to call him back. I'm like, hey, Dave, or whatever his name was, hey, this is Peter. I was talking to you. Yeah. I go, Pork Chop? Oh, yeah. I was like.
Right. He remembered it.
Exactly.
Wow.
So then when I came out to Vegas, that's when I was like, okay, just use my name.
So when you came out to Vegas, it was no more Pork Chop.
Pork Chop hit.
Oh, that's a shame.
Stayed in New York. Yeah.
Everyone would have been like, Pork Chop.
I guess.
So like in New York in the 2000s, when did you move to Vegas, by the way?
2011?
2011.
Yeah.
So in the 2000s, you were at like One Oak, 105 Rivington. You mentioned Bungalow 8, Hero, Lotus, Marquee, Tao, The Box, Tribeca Grand, Jet East. You were at all of these clubs that me and Neville were at, pretty much.
And Eddie too, Eddie McDonald.
And Eddie, yeah.
The same thing.
Eddie McDonald.
Like we must have like walked past each other, like.
Yeah, how did we not? Were we not in the same circles?
I know.
And I didn't see you at all. And even Marquee.
Yeah,
I would have definitely saw you at Marquee.
I was there
upstairs
every Saturday. No, I was on the main floor.
Oh, you were on the main floor.
Q-Tip was upstairs. Yeah.
What is Q-Tip was upstairs?
Yeah.
Wow, that's fucking. So, what made you come to Vegas?
When the Cosmopolitan opened, and then this company Blue Ribbon, I did all their music for the longest time, and I bartended for them.
That's where I first met. That's where I first met you. You were DJing at Blue Ribbon
right.
in Vegas.
Yeah, and what it was like, so near the end of my time in New York, when I was started doing like, so again, I was doing like Marquee, and I was doing all these big clubs, and I was doing the main room Saturday night, and it was great. Okay, but I started to be like, you know what, man, I want to start playing like some more like new disco shit, some indie dance stuff. I just wanted to change. I was like, I'm not happy just being the guy. Because when you're at Marquee, you got to play... You know what I mean? Like
all the hits.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of leeway to play your shit.
So in the 80s and 90s, you were like a dance and house DJ, right?
Yes.
And then in the 2000s, you became an open format DJ, pretty much like a mashup DJ, or you had to play everything.
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, more a little. I mean, I started off like when I was doing Central Fly. I was still mostly a house DJ. So when was that? That's what
Early 2000s.
Early
late
90s, early
2000s,
2000s,
something like
yeah.
that. And then once I got to like Marquee, then or maybe a little before Marquee.
Come on, Marquee was like 2004.
Yeah, so say like 2002, I started doing more open format stuff when when like the bad boy stuff was hitting and stuff like that.
They call it the jiggy rap era, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it is now?
I've had Jason Strauss come to me and say, "Can you play some jiggy rap?" So it was like the jiggy rap era, the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Because you took over for me at Jet East when I moved out here, right?
Yeah.
You started doing the Hamptons.
Yeah. In the best DJ booth in the world.
Of course, man. Yeah.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
This DJ booth.
I was gonna say, what's the DJ?
This DJ booth, you had to. It was like you had to crawl in. There was
it was that one.
It was a hole.
Yeah, it was like
It was a hole.
It would be like going under this table, but when all the other sides are sealed, so you had to walk under here.
Yeah. So you had to like crawl. There was no, like if you had to go to the bathroom.
Oh,
Man.
You had to crawl through there?
Yeah, no, like you're killing it, right? You put on a long record and you're killing it, and then everyone's like, "Oh man, the DJ!" And then you're crawling out, and then they're like, "Oh wait, the DJ's crawling out. Make some space for him."
and then you have to go through the crowd.
You got to run to the dance floor.
And then you got to crawl back in.
Okay,
And it was the most like undignifying thing
Yeah,
ever in the
man.
fucking
I
world.
did a couple of water bottles back in the day.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
I'm sure you did.
I've
that
done a
too.
couple as well. Yeah.
We've all done it. And remember too, like that was still records
Yeah.
and no lights. Remember you had to have all those candles all
I
over.
got
the
burned
place?
a couple of times.
You'd have like wax. You'd have wax all over your records and shit.
Oh my
wax
god,
on, wax on.
the shit we had to go through, man.
Yeah.
I just I can't even remember like bringing your records on the jitney to like
Yeah,
to
man.
the Hamptons.
Yeah.
Oh my god, we had to take a bus.
Imagine
from
coming
New York to the
imagine
Hamptons.
coming back and I'd be all fucking hungover and drunk, and you have to carry the fucking records on the bus.
Do you guys ever play at the club called Show?
Yeah,
It was on 40th.
I had to carry it upstairs.
Fucking like the DJ booth was like you're like
Yeah.
here against the ceiling, right?
Yeah.
I remember once I was there playing and the owner had the nerve to like say something about my shoes. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm like,
Was it Scott?
I'm like 4 flights up, like no one's gonna see me. What do you care?
He was really bitching about
He
your
said
shoes.
something. I forget. Like, oh, you're gonna wear those sneakers? I'm like, yeah, dude. I got to walk up a step ladder with my crates of records.
It's actually reopened now as Nubia.
It's a Korean club, right?
The night I went, it was like that was reaching Shortcuts is DJing. that
Okay.
night. So it was like a
From what
It was like, no,
I think it like opened as a Korean club and then it became something. Oh no! It was a Korean club, and
I think it still is the Korean club, but then on Tuesday nights I guess it's like industry.
yeah, Richie Romero runs it, right?
I think so,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh-huh,
Oh
yeah.
shit!
The same space.
Yeah, same space.
And remember when you came out at night and then there were no fucking cabs because all the people would get out there.
man.
Then you had to like
I
walk
remember-
with your crates, like, and then go back and get more crates and go over to 6th Ave and try to get a fucking cab.
I remember the one time I DJed there. I was filling for
sucked.
Crooked. Crooked had asked me to fill in for him
Really, at show?
at show. Yeah, and that was like the only time I DJed there, and it was so funny. It was a snowstorm that night.
Wait,
probably-
why?
And
you
I
probably
had
checked
a
the
hard
weather
time to
station.
get a fucking cab to get back home.
Why couldn't I do it?
I don't know. And I was doing the upstairs, and I think Reach is doing like the main floor.
Oh, I didn't even know there's an upstairs. There's an upstairs.
No, there was there was
It's
2
like a
levels.
big-
No,
when
you're
I
not
was
thinking
there.
about show.
No,
Not
it
when I
was
was
show
on
yeah.
41st.
Yeah,
Oh shit!
Because it was like it had that balcony, but it was all
yeah,
open.
exactly. Yeah,
Oh shit! I didn't know there was another room.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
I thought there was only one main room.
nah.
I only did the main room.
and I think I did the upstairs, and Reach did the main room.
Oh shit!
I remember when
How
it was
that
just
night?
one.
How was
it
it?
was-
It was kind of it was a snowstorm, so it was kind of slow that night.
Yeah.
it was.
'cause I remember it was just one DJ booth for the whole club, all the way up like fucking rafters, man.
Oh yeah, that's where I was.
Yeah.
I remember. That was the club that actually made me though.
Oh yeah.
That blew me up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was Unique and Kiki brought me over there.
Was that post PM?
This is before PM. This is when they were doing.
I think this is there. I think that was the last club
Seraphina's?
I DJed in New York before I moved to Vegas, or
Oh really?
around that time. It was 90. It was 02.
It was
02 or 03.
Oh, probably
Actually,
03,
03.
yeah.
03.
Yeah, this is when Unique and Kiki were doing Seraphina's. And then
Okay.
they started a hip hop night. I actually DJ'd the first hip hop night at Pangea. And it was a Tuesday, I think. because they did Wednesdays, and then they had me doing Thursdays at Show. And then Show was when I started blowing up because I was like getting pictures at like, I don't know, like Junebug or whatever the fuck.
Oh yeah,
those
yeah,
websites did that like posted the nightclub pictures.
Yeah,
they were like, and
was
then
it Club Planet, or
Club Planet and all
Planet
that.
X.
Club Planet.
Yeah.
They had that in the West Coast too.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Once you said it, I was like, oh wait, I know the fuck that one.
That was good too. You know, it was great too. Is when you had a residency back then. It was every week.
Right.
We've talked about this before. You know, out here where it's like something about like having that weekly residence to really build a night, really build. You can't do that out here anymore. You can't do it out here
Anywhere, yeah.
I don't even know if New York does it.
I don't think they do. Oh wait, they kind of do. They have their like.
Well, MoMA does the Levan, right?
Levan.
Reach does on Baby Fat or Fat.
Yeah, no, they still do it in New York.
Baby
Yeah.
Fat?
Yeah.
Wow.
They still do it in New York.
Yeah.
They still do it in New York. I think in the West Coast, it's more. Everyone's rotating.
Yeah.
constantly.
And a couple of DJs at night as opposed to one guy.
I maybe everywhere else is just rotating pretty much. But yeah, I mean, I think in certain cities they're still doing the weekly. But I love a weekly.
I love a weekly too.
I think Jerome Baker has a weekly.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
But it's his party, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
That's the only way to. That's the future, man. If you want
Right.
to do a thing, you got to do your own party. That's the only way.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to do a weekly somewhere.
Yeah.
I would love it.
I mean, I'm looking for
Give me
space.
give me 4 to 5 hours in a weekly every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you call it? I want to talk about like because when we had lunch, you were talking about remixes, and every time I hear you DJ on the record, you're on the bus, you know, you're all over the town, and every time I hear you on the record, you're playing some edit that I've never heard before, some disco edit, some house edit. And I'm almost like, oh my God, I'm always like listening to some extended mix that you made or with different drums, and it's amazing. And I want to talk about the production side of what you've been doing kind of recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's been a great thing. You know, that's been a great thing. And I really pushed production as a way to, I thought it would be a way to elevate my like DJ profile. You know what I mean? And also it's just something I wanted to do. So I really worked hard. I decided I wanted to become proficient at it. Because you see a lot of these producers, and they're fucking cranking shit out, man. I'm like, damn, how do they, you know? So I was like, okay, I got to put in I forget what that thing is. Like was Philip Glass say? It's like 30,000 hours or whatever.
10,000 hours.
10,000 hours, yeah. So I was like, okay. So I just started doing it. And then, you know, when the pandemic hit, I was like, perfect. I just stayed in my studio and just produced, you know? And now I'm doing like, I probably put out about a track a month now, you know?
Wow. That's good.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing my own edits, and I'm starting to put stuff up on Bandcamp. You know, stuff that you just can't, you know, some stuff is just like, I just finished doing an edit of Human League, Don't You Want Me? Okay. And for some reason, I feel like that song has gotten new life for some reason.
It has,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
People are playing it and people are really responding to it. So anyway, so like I beefed the drums up, made the drums sound a little more modern, not so 80s. And then I started with the chorus. Because that's all anybody wants to hear. Anyway, you know what I mean? Just stuff like that just makes it more club friendly, you know? And
Are you selling any of these, or are they?
I put them
available?
on Bandcamp. Yeah.
Bandcamp?
Yeah.
What's your Bandcamp?
Just Shalvoy.
Shalvoy?
Yeah. So I do that, and now, you know, I got a lot of original tracks that I put on a lot of labels in the UK, like Midnight Riot, Super Spicy in Mexico, Tropical Disco, what else? Mango Sounds, you know, and now it's funny because now I have labels asking me for tracks,
That's dope.
which is nice, you know. And now I just finished a remix for this really good producer in Spain, which was great because remixes for me are hard because it's like, you know, it's somebody else's song, so it's, you know, there's expectations, you know. So that was good. So yeah, so I mean, and I love doing it.
Are you gonna tour out there overseas?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out now. You know, that was my whole plan, and I picked a bad time with Brexit and COVID and stuff like that. So like, you know, now like a lot of flights are being canceled, and it's really tough to travel within Europe.
It's horrific, right?
You know, like I was going to go to the ADE, the Amsterdam dance event. I had like gigs out there, but it's like, it's too expensive and it just can't make it. There's no guarantee either that you're getting out.
Yeah.
I've heard horror stories of people that have had to cancel like whole weekends because like the whole airline, like my friend, the whole like Finnish Air is just like, oh, no more flights until September. Sorry.
Yeah.
So it's like to spend that money and time to take that risk. I know friends who have gone out to UK to DJ, first gig, got COVID, had to come home. You know what I mean? So it's let me just.
Wow.
It's funny because like with everything that opened up in the U.S. last year, like everyone in the U.S. thinks everything's back to normal.
Right.
It's really not. No. Like international just opened up this year. Everything's in real transition still, but it's just a really rocky time right now.
And you got to remember too. I mean, the vaccines and stuff, they were created here, so we're way ahead of the rest of the world in vaccines and stuff too, which helped us. Whereas, and also too, those other cities are much more condensed, and
I feel like everyone, because of the pandemic, everyone's like going out like YOLO, like I have to go, like I have to go out, I have to travel, I have to do all of these things.
Yeah,
and I feel like there's all of these things that are these catastrophes that are happening.
Things will get worse, so they're taking advantage of
everything
that's opening now.
But I also feel like everyone needs to just chill the fuck out because everyone's just going too hard right now and traveling and stuff. Yeah. And it's just not. It's like everyone, like there's all these fights and like in bars and like clubs and like and airports and everything, planes and shit. Even still, it's like everyone. I feel like everyone just needs to fucking relax. For a little bit.
And everyone has that attitude like it's all about me. This is my trip, or this is my. Right. You cut in front of me. It's like,
we're all going to the same place.
The fuck, man.
No one's going quicker.
Wait, so with all your remixes and everything that you're doing right now, they're on Bandcamp and everything. And
Bandcamp, where you can go to like TrackSource or Juno Download and just Google my name, Shalvoy, and all my tracks will come up.
That's crazy. I didn't know you did all those tracks because I remember I was hanging out with Shecky one night. This is when OTR first opened up, and we were having dinner. He's like, "Yo, we're gonna go check out P. Shalvoy," and I was like, "I don't know what that is." So he goes and we go hang out with you, and I'm just like trying to Shazam every fucking record you're playing, and then Shecky goes, "You're not gonna find any of this shit because they're all his shit, and it's all different." And I was just like, "Damn." Like it was just like a master class of just learning old music, but it was new to me.
Right.
But it was just you were just killing shit. And Shaky was dancing, and you could just picture Shaky dancing. You know what I mean? Like it was crazy that night.
Shout out to Shecky. I don't need to see him dancing.
I know.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I apologize for that, but
it's just funny. Like you won't think Shaky will dance, but he was like, "You're playing White Lines." I think it was some record that he.
Oh yeah.
He's like, "Oh, this is my shit back in whatever." I was like, "All right, Shaky." You know what I mean? But it was a great experience.
Your edits and your remixes are tasteful.
Thank you.
They remind me of like Eli Escobar's stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah. Very clean.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's really good.
It's fun to do too, and it's fun to see, your remix or your edit, whatever, go over. You know what I mean? Which is nice.
Yeah.
Like I just did an edit of Lionel Richie All Night Long. So I love the track, but the track, it's a shitty setup. You know what I mean? So I changed it around and did it, and I extended that like African beat part of it and stuff like that. So, and that the first couple of times I was like, I don't know. And then a couple of times I played it and the place got packed and people went, I was like, oh, okay.
That's dope.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh man. How much are you enjoying on the record and on the bus? That like everyone wants to DJ in the bus, the patio area.
I know. It's great.
Dream,
I
right?
love it. I love it. I mean, it's the perfect gig for me.
Right.
So I'm grateful for, any nights I can get there.
There's so many DJs that come into town, like, Riz, shout to Riz. He's like a legend.
Sure.
And he's DJ'd on the bus in the patio, and he was just like, oh my God, It's like, where am I going to spend like this in New York? Nowhere. Like, I can't find anywhere like this.
Right.
Like, this is amazing. This is incredible, And it's like every DJ goes there. And then never you and Pete, like pretty much DJ like at least once or twice a month, right?
Oh, on there, yeah.
And so it's like, do you guys get kind of spoiled with it, or do you guys appreciate it every time you DJ there?
Appreciate it, man.
Oh yeah, like I was telling you one time, if I know I'm DJing on the record, like that's like game day. Like, you know what I mean? I can't fuck it up. I got to be ready. I got to do, because if I fuck it up, man, I feel like shit until I can get back there and do it again, you know?
It's funny because I look forward to it too. I did it last night. I did the bus and I was like, man, I'm about to have fun tonight. Because it's a different, no one's telling you what to play. You have a format you have to follow, and
and that's what's great too. Like, think about it, man. No one, I don't know about you guys, but no one's ever told me.
No one's ever told me, yeah.
Not once.
Only Ross comes over and he's like, it's too loud. I'll be like, all right, cool.
That's fine, yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, that's great for that, you know? And they really they hit on something great, you know? And I love being able to, like, someone come up, ask for Bad Bunny. I'm like, oh, other room.
I do that too.
That's great.
Not in here. Not in here.
You know, I just need just a door sticker to put in your other clubs. Like, oh yeah, right through that door. Go ahead, just to get them away from you.
Bunny pointing over.
You know,
has it been more fun with like the Silk Sonic and the Usher after parties being over there?
I think so.
It's been more consistent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, I've definitely noticed that like the Silk Sonic crowd has definitely gotten a little more mainstream.
Oh yeah,
than in the beginning.
So you can't go as deep as you want to go.
Some nights you're just like, fuck, man, like the lane is so narrow because if you go a little bit, they're like, nope. Like,
yeah, I remember I did one of the first Silk Sonic after parties, and it was just there's just music lovers in there, and it was just like you play whatever the fuck. And I feel like now you have to play more.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I remember one of the best nights was a Janet Jackson crowd.
Oh,
that crowd was fucking amazing, man. Oh, it was great. You know, 30 to like 60, you know, and they knew everything. Yeah. And they were fucking going crazy. That was great. You know, that was probably one of the best nights I've had in that place. But
you know, when you look at your DJ career, it's like 40 years, right? Almost like 40 years.
Guess so, yeah.
Yeah, from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and
yeah, about 30 anyway, 30 something. Yeah,
30 something. Close to almost 40.
Yeah.
I'd say 30 something.
30
you know,
shit.
87 to 2020.
Yeah. I mean, all the changes that you've seen and everything. How do you feel about it now? Like where DJing is right now, and then what is the one thing that? How do you feel about it now? And what's the one thing that has stayed the same?
You know, it's funny because like I never really thought about it. I just kind of did it,
right?
You know, and it wasn't even until recently, almost like Vegas time or maybe even a little before that, where, at least for me, I don't know, but you could almost think about DJing as like, oh, that's my career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it was more like I just do it with something else because you couldn't really make a career out of it. Not like, you know, there was no Calvin Harris money in 2000.
It almost feels like we were in a hamster wheel, right? We just kept going and going and going.
Yeah.
And we just saw where it led us. And we're like, okay, there's money there. There's opportunity there. We'll go there. Okay, we'll go back. We'll come back here.
Yeah.
And you just keep going, but it's not like it's strategized like, oh, you know, I'm going to move this way. I'm going to do that or anything like that.
And you know what's interesting too, I think, is that the more popular it's become almost, the more devalued it's become as well. You know, and I feel like, and I'm a DJ, and like I said, I love doing it, but like sometimes I'm like, you don't need a DJ at the Giorgio Armani store. Sorry, you don't. You know what I mean? Like there's too many DJs everywhere. So then everyone's a DJ, so everyone thinks they know, you know, what's going on. And like I said, I think it's too much and it devalues the people that can really do it. You know, like, and also too, like,
I don't think it does. I disagree, though, because I don't think there's many people that can do what you do, who has the musical knowledge that you have. You know what I mean?
So if you don't get paid for it.
I mean, I think you stand out, though. I think in my opinion, in my perception, I think you stand out.
Yeah, you definitely define what's a good DJ and a bad DJ.
Yeah. Now, like, is there a platform built for you, you know, to showcase this on a regular basis? Maybe not as much as before, but I think when there is a platform and you get to do whatever you want to do, I think you stand out tremendously compared to everyone else.
You know? Thank you. Yeah, like I said, I just feel like it's lost some of its, well, like, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I guess with the popular stuff, with the popular stuff though, it also, you know what I mean? Like, for example, like you have like some celebrities that'll be like, oh, I remember like when they first started doing it, like back around 2000 or whatever, they'd be like, well, I have my iPod. Can you plug my iPod in and play? Like,
right. I remember that.
Like, why? Like, what's the point of that?
That happened a lot in the early 2000s.
Yeah, early 2000s.
When like Pete Wentz would do that. Who else would do that? Travis, what's his name from
McCoy.
Yeah,
Travis McCoy, and I'd be at Jet, and I'd have to open for these guys, and they'd have like 2 iPods,
Right.
and they're playing like Opposites Attract, Paula Abdul, and I'm like, I've never heard this shit in the club ever in my life. It sounded amazing, but I was like, all right, this is where we're at. Right
I remember
now.
P. Witz used to have a pre-made mix, so he wasn't DJing. He was just looked like he was DJing.
Right.
No, this is before the iPod or after? This is after the iPod. It has to be. Because when I saw him, he was like pushing these buttons.
It was after the iPod. It was. Definitely.
Wait,
was
he
like
had
this-
one iPod.
It was.
and one
It was.
iPod?
He had
What
2 iPods, so like
Yo, pause one and play the.
He was
other
using a tractor.
No. This is before
So
that.
that was before. Yeah.
This is when these motherfuckers had the audacity to come
So
in,
it was 2 aux.
2 auxes and plug in,
Right.
and 2 iPods.
But that's my
Who let this shit happen?
right. To my
Who
point,
the
it's like
fuck?
those guys wouldn't like just sit down on a piano and go, oh yeah, I can play piano, and just go like bang 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 bang. But they do it as a DJ. They're like, oh yeah, I can DJ. You should see my iPod. It's awesome.
I mean, I think in the 2000s it was just like
Sounds like a circus.
you had what's his name? What's Pamela Anderson's husband?
Tommy
Tommy
Lee.
Lee.
Tommy Lee?
Tommy Lee was DJing, wasn't he?
Yeah.
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 I mean, it was kind of a shit show.
Well,
back then.
he was playing the drums and he had a DJ.
That's different.
But did he he DJ'd
He
at one
DJ
point?
too at
Yeah.
some point. Yeah.
All of them, like, it was a weird time back then. There was a lot of weird shit that happened. These motherfuckers.
That's what I'm saying. Like, DJing became like this thing. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I think now it's starting to level off more.
I
but
think
it
it's still. I
I
think it's
remember
still
that
happening.
when like the actors started DJing. Like who's the dude from that '70s
Elijah-
show?
Oh yeah. Oh, Danny Masterson.
Yeah, Danny Masterson.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy Frodo, Elijah Wood, is that his name?
Elijah Wood. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Did he DJ?
Yeah, he played it like the Win one.
Motherfucker said Frodo.
Frodo, yeah.
I think that's his DJ name too.
DJ Frodo.
The guy from Scary Movie, John Abrams.
Oh, really?
Oh shit.
Yeah. He couldn't DJ, but he was mad cool though. I remember him coming to the light and shit.
Danny Masterson was mad cool too. He was like, and I guess in Hollywood and LA, he was like at all the DJs homies
Yeah.
because he would like kind of like he would get thrown gigs, but he would give them to the local DJs
Right.
because he didn't want to like take gigs away from DJs.
That's cool.
I don't know. I heard that's what I heard about him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he actually, I remember he was at Tao one night and I was DJing, and I think I was just like, I'm from New York. We do the air horns, right?
Yeah.
And I think he tweeted out like, "Who is this DJ, and why is he like doing an air horn like every song or whatever?" And all these DJs, I think I like retweeted or I replied. I said, "It's me. My bad on the air horns." And all these DJs attacked Danny Masterson.
The guy from the '70s show, right?
Yeah, they were attacking him to the point where he's like, "Look, I'm sorry. I'm just like, it was just a lot of air horns." And I think even Riz responded, and he's like, "You know why? He's from New York." And I love that. I was like, "Yo, Riz, thank you, man. That made my whole fucking decade."
Like the funk flex, right?
Yeah. Yo, Pete, I'm so happy we finally got to record this.
Yeah.
Sit down
yeah.
with us.
Thanks
man.
so much for having me, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
Didn't realize I had that much, that many stories. I was like, what are we gonna talk
Yeah,
about?
so many, man. I'm sure when the cameras come off, you're gonna be like, "Oh, we can go for a length of 2 hours." Man.
I know, right?
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's funny because we said, who should we get? I'm like, we should get Pete. We've been talking about it. He's like, oh, I hit a pork chop. I said, no, Pete Shalvoy. He's like, oh, I know him as pork chop. So it was different.
I always feel like I missed some of the best nightlife in New York. It's because I caught like the late 90s, the very late 90s and early 2000s of it. And I kind of missed
Eddie
the
says that
90s
all the time,
and the
man.
80s.
Yeah.
I missed that era. I mean, there's all these DJs that I talk to, and I'm like, man, if we were just around, if we were like old enough to go to the Palladium and like to do all this shit, it's like, so I love hearing about it.
Yeah. It was, the other thing was too, like it was a different time. Like you could get an apartment on the Lower East Side for $750.
Shit.
You know what I mean? So like you could go out every
Now
night.
it's
You could,
8,000 and shit.
Yeah. So it was just it was a different city,
It was like you knew everybody like in the Lower East Side, so you could like fucking hang out, smoke weed, and before you go out, have your drinks, drink your 40s and shit.
Yeah, I'd go out by myself with like $20 in my pocket, come back, have a great time, and $20 in my pocket. You know what I mean? Like it was just like it was great. Like, and when I lived in East Village is when like the art scene was happening. So there'd always be like gallery openings. You'd be like go there and drink for free.
Drink wine.
Before you go out.
Eat cheese.
Yeah. So it was a different time, but it was great. You know, a lot of stuff was going on, and it wasn't as corporate. You know, it was much more open, and you could definitely
I see what you mean.
Do a lot of stuff.
I see what you mean, though, when you're saying when they're like, you know, there's a DJ for everything now. It's oversaturated, because when you started, it was like you said, like it was a community.
Right.
And it was like an identity. It was like, I love DJing and I want to do it. It wasn't like something where it was like, oh, you know, I can get some extra gigs and make some more money if I become a DJ.
Right.
It wasn't this, there wasn't a motive of just financial gain. It was like you had a love for this whole thing.
And
you know?
and you got to remember too, there was no real like it wasn't like, oh, it's going to look great on my Instagram or whatever. I'm going to post pictures of me DJing, like, and you were usually like in the corner or behind a wall or what, you know what I mean? Like there's like a little cutout or something like that, but it wasn't like it is now, and you never had to like dance around like an idiot and do all, you know,
jump up and down.
Yeah, and do all this bullshit. It was, you know, and I think about that too, though. I think it's also the fact that like it's a lot easier to DJ now. So you have more time, so you have to do something. So they feel like, oh, let me jump around or dance around. Because before you had to like take the record out, put the record back, grab the other record.
Gotta look for the record.
Maybe you do the old t-shirt wipe and you know what I mean? Like you had shit to do in between the records. But now you're like, oh, ding, okay, I'm ready.
And you already have a playlist and you just click go.
You know?
I remember like when I fucked up a mix or if I played the wrong record, like going to dig for my records was a perfect escape.
or you pretended you had that crate on the floor. You're like,
yeah. and I'm like digging for records and I'm talking to myself like, you fucking idiot. Why did you play that song?
You tell me this story. Somebody said, are you okay?
And then, I'm like, you fucking idiot. You played that fucking song. You fucked that up. And I think someone came up like, hey. And then I was like, you fucked up. And then you're like, are you okay? You're like, were you talking to yourself?
But sometimes doesn't that make you feel better? Like I know for me, sometimes if I'm really nervous at a gig or something like that, like I'm like, oh fuck, and then you fuck up and you're like, okay, I fucked up. Like people are still here, still going. Okay, let me relax and fucking enjoy this. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's almost better to get it out of the way. Like
right.
You know, but it's funny that we're all like that. Isn't that weird? Like are we masochists? Like we want, like this is what we chose to do. We work our asses off so we can do this, and we're still just like, you fucking suck. You know what I mean?
It just takes the littlest thing, right?
Yeah.
Just to, like even just one person going like this or some shit.
Yeah.
I fucking almost lost it. Like I think that's only happened twice to me, where someone went like this, and I wanted to like jump over and like fucking. Oh,
dude,
my
it's
God.
taken me years to work through it. It's true. I know it sounds crazy, but I remember one time I was DJing at Kane, and this is when AM was really big, and AM was playing. You know, I played, AM played, I played. So I'm there now.
I didn't know AM did Kane. He did.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
only like once or twice. And remember that like Kane DJ booth is that big rock.
Yeah.
Right. So you're kind of right. You're like kind of like on the level with everyone. So people are right there.
Oh my God! Is this when they had the Technique CDJs with the moving discs? Remember?
Yeah.
Oh my God! It was.
But I think
horrific.
they had turntables. This was like back in the turntable tractor days, and I had to like put like cushions on them so they wouldn't feed. It was a nightmare.
God.
But anyway, so I'm playing with AM, and everyone's like jumping. And this is like AM, like fucking peak, right? He's engaged to Nicole Rich. I mean, he was like at his peak, and I remember everyone's kind of clawing over the rock trying to get to him, and some girl hands him a napkin. He kind of looks at it and puts it down. Goes on. He leaves. I'm playing. I'm like, oh, let me check this. Oh, here's that napkin that girl gave. So I look at it and it goes, you suck shit. I was like, fuck, man. I was like, even AM's not like immune to this shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he's probably the biggest DJ in the country at the time, right? Like People Magazine. Some chick has to be like, she has to go out of her way to get a pen, get a napkin to write, you suck shit.
and then get to the booth.
Yeah, and like,
I climb over a rock, bitch.
You know,
I love it.
So, but we all got to deal with it, man. I used to do that. I used to think everyone who's talking like, oh, they're talking about me and they're talking about how much I suck. Like, oh fuck, just
it's so tough.
Beat yourself up, and then you're like, how was your night? Oh, it's good.
Another day at work.
Wait, you never answered my question though. Over your span of DJing in a 35 plus years,
right?
What do you think? What's stayed the same with all the changes that's happened in your opinion? I know it's not the easiest question.
I mean, I think the one constant, and I think the reason we all do it is that feeling you get when you drop that right record, and like, and the crowd reacts and they dance. I think that's the thing.
It never goes away. It keeps you doing
That's constant, whether you're on vinyl, Serato, an iPod, whatever it is. If you drop that right record and you get that reaction from the crowd, that's
shot of dopamine.
That's the gold right there, you know.
That's why we keep doing it.
Yeah, man. And just to so people go like, yeah, like to get, you get the look like, I fucking know what you're doing. I'm digging it. You know what I mean? You're like, fuck yeah, okay, good. You know, I think
great.
that's what.
That never goes away.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
you know, and sometimes it's like we've all had those nights. Like it could be like you got 3 people. You know what I mean? Like it's a shitty night, and like but you got those 3 people and they're fucking vibing. You're like, fuck it, I'm playing for those.
Yeah.
And you have a great night because you're like, fuck it, I don't need 3,000 people. If I get 3 that are digging it,
you're good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that doesn't cut it for me, man. I'll be like, yo, what the fuck?
Are you fucking serious?
I'll be like, you guys are great, but tonight fucking sucked, man. I feel like that.
yeah. Well,
Pete.
On that note, go ahead, Christian.
Pete, man, I'm glad we did this, man. Thank you so much for coming through, bro.
Thank you so much,
Pete.
Pete.
All right, bro.
Thanks, Pete.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Thank
No
you.
doubt, man. If you want to watch more episodes from R.O.A.D Podcast, click either links on the left or the right. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page and get updated on new uploads throughout the week. Peace.